Welcome to the CINDERS Fundamental Strength Training for Mental Health program. And today we're going through all of the 6 core compound movement patterns. Compound movement patterns means that they use multiple joints and they produce a lot of bang for their buck in terms of your ability to load them, build muscle, central nervous system activation, hormone response, all these different things that we're ultimately looking for. And they're kind of just the fundamental movement patterns of life that we want to be training as well, so that we feel good as we move throughout life. So these are kind of the fundamental basics that we want to be mastering. In this particular video, we're going to go over the hinge pattern. So ultimately the hinge pattern is, so our squat pattern is we're squatting down like this. Our hinge pattern is it's like we're opening or closing like a book. So our butt is going to go back and we're hinging like this. That's the hinge pattern. And then there's multiple ways we can load that. The basic one and my favorite one that I love pretty much more than any other lift from a particular hinge pattern perspective is a Romanian deadlift. It's the way that that one works. And we're going to come up here and we're just going to drop straight down in front of us and come back up. The way that this works is you actually want to pretend like you're closing a door behind you with your butt. So I'm here and the bar's actually going to stay directly over my feet. So if I kick my hips back, bar staying straight over the middle of my foot. I go down, back nice and flat, and come back up. What's ultimately happening here is we're trying to keep our back nice and flat. And the way that I like to sort of describe this to people is we're basically pretending like our head is just above water. We're going to breathe in and brace. We're going to push our stomach out as far as we can when we do that brace. And then we're going to go underwater for the whole rep and then take a breath at the top. It's going to look like this. That's just going to help make sure that our spine is good and stable, so we're not rounding too much, which ultimately isn't a bad thing. Our spines move that way for a reason. But if we're going to load this to a high amount of weight, we want to make sure that we're cognizant of where our spine is, what we're trying to do, and what we're trying to train. And for this, we're trying to train our hamstrings and our glutes. So I'm going to explain that a little bit as well. So your hamstrings being the backside of your legs here, glutes being here. The straighter your legs are on this particular lift, the more hamstring you're going to get, and the more bent you are, the more glute you're going to get. So if we come down to the bottom here, if I'm really bent, that's going to be a lot of glute. If I'm really straight, that's going to be a lot of hamstring. So the second movement is what I just did to get that weight off the ground, is just the conventional deadlift. The way that works is it's essentially instead of starting from the top like the RDL, we're going to start from the bottom. And so you're going to bend down, bars over your foot, just like we talked about. Butt is back, closing that door behind you. And then we're gonna squat the weight up until we can hinge. Hinge, squat. So that's actually a great way of thinking about it. Is if you come up to the top of a deadlift and you hinge as much as you can until your hamstrings are maxed out, and then you squat. That's essentially what the deadlift is. Squat, hinge, and back down. So that's a conventional deadlift. Another fantastic move to do, and actually before I get into that, is we're going to be doing this with dumbbells. Super lightweight. No need to go too crazy with this as you're learning. You can use dumbbells. I kind of like how I can sort of have it a little bit off to the side too, instead of directly in front of me. Do the same movement, but back closing the door. Romanian deadlift. One of my all-time favorite movements is the single leg Romanian deadlift. And as you progress to that, you can use a little bit of a kickstand. Try to use it as little as possible to do it with a single leg. And then lastly, there aren't a ton of machines. You can use a hack squat machine. I've actually never done that to do kind of hack squat, deadlift sort of things. But this machine does show up at a lot of gyms and is a really great place to start and is really great for lower back rehabilitation. And so I like this one a lot. But it's this 45-degree back extension. This is also a hinge pattern. So we can use this to train our lower back as well. And you'll really start to feel your glutes and your hamstrings and your lower back light up when you're doing this particular movement. So that's a hinge pattern. It's all posterior chain, essentially. Glutes, hamstrings, lower back. Use a lot of your upper back, especially when you're loading your the weight in front of you with a barbell or something like that. One of the biggest strength, size, neural drive, hormone release movement patterns that we have available.